All right, hey y'all. So Dustin here. If we haven't met, my name is Dustin Schaefer. I've been with Prove It since we launched nearly 9 years ago. About 9 years ago, last month, I got my very first sample of ketones in a clear baggie with white powder in it before anybody knew what it was. And that's really important. That 9 year mark is super, super important. So when I started in this, there's only maybe 10 people in the world that ever tried ketones. Just to give the perspective, what's the percentage of how many people in the world? What's 10 divided by 7 billion? What's that percentage? I'm just curious. And so this is going to matter. I want you to keep track of that percentage number because I'm going to come back to that in just a minute. But what I want to do is just take a few minutes. This is going to be a 30-minute Zoom. This is our series Up to More. And our focus of this Zoom is about helping people have a better conversation to build the business. And so what that means is that doesn't mean that you have to have a business conversation, you have a ketone conversation. It just means you have to have conversations and you have to have a way to introduce this to people, do the systems, right? Attract, connect, and then get people an experience, but give people the full picture of what they can participate here. Just a reminder again, if when I got introduced to Prove It, if I was only introduced to ketones, I would have never joined Prove It. Now, there's a plenty of you on here that joined because of ketones. But for me personally, I would have never joined this opportunity if it was about the product. I joined this opportunity because it was about the opportunity to change my life. And I happened to love the product and I fell in love with it even more as we used it. A lot of you, if you could just a show of hands or in the chat, how many of you got attracted by ketones and then got excited about Prove It? So we're reversed. It happened in both direction and both work. Nick Martinez did a training that was really remarkable. I'm going to just touch on it briefly. Actually, I probably should touch on it more than briefly, but I also am going to have a couple people speak. Before I have them come on and speak, I'm going to I want to just share a couple things. First off, if you're watching right now, I was just talking with Nick. Nick's at a gym with Anna Mae, his wife. Amazing couple out of Modesto. They're going to become one of our next ranked sixes. I mean, they're going to just climb the ladders because they're just doing amazing things. But they're at a gym. I think they have a table or a booth or something up. And I'm literally talking to them via text about how to get this guy started because he's asking some questions and I'm answering some questions. And then he comes on the Zoom and I'm able to talk to the guy directly. So that's pretty cool. And what they did is what the video talked about last week. So in the chat or with the show of hands, how many of you watched the Art Williams video, Do It? Did it speak to you? Now, if you're like me, not that you have to like me, but if you're like me, I have to see things over. I've watched that video probably 19 times in the last 2 weeks, just so y'all know. Because for me, I got to be reminded. So that's the way I am. And maybe because I'm a dude, I don't know. I just need to be reminded. My wife says she has to remind me with everything all the time. So, but it's like, I got to be reminded, right? But what's really cool about that video is Nick and Anna Mae are just doing it. They're just doing it and they're doing it and they're doing it and they're doing it and they're doing it. Now, my goal is for them to fine tune what they're doing so they get more of it. And so I have a special video I'm going to be recommending on Friday-ish. I think it'll be Friday. We're going to do this Zoom. Should we do it like middle of the night, just like 2 o'clock in the morning, just for fun? I'm just kidding. So, but I have another special Zoom I'm going to recommend, or a video to watch, or a YouTube video to watch that's going to talk about some fine-tuning things. And I have something that we're going to share here in just a minute. I'm going to ensure for all you guys to get shared with too. But that's really cool, Nick. I'm super stoked. And that's Nick is not the only one. We got Rebecca, who's crushing it. She's doing it. We have Lynn. I was on a call with her all weekend, or not all weekend, this weekend with a couple. They run a mobile IV thing, and she's doing it. Kate is going to come on later, and she's been doing some really cool things, and she's been doing it. I know Marika, we did a really cool KLP at Marika's house I zoomed into, which is really cool because she's just doing it. And what's really cool is they're all doing it differently, but they're all doing the same thing. And I think that's the secret. So by the end of the day, I want you just to hear what are they doing, and I want you to really associate they're all the same thing. So if you want to build online, you want to build offline, you want to build with strangers at a gym, you want to do networking groups, you got to do it. But then at the same time, what are you doing is you're doing the same thing no matter which one it is. They're all the same, right? You're attracting, right? You got to know, like, and trust. You got to build some type of trust. They're attracting, and they're going to connect them to a resource, and they're going to get them enrolled and somehow into Prove It or not at all. So before I bring on Rebecca, I'm going to be talking to you here in just a second. She's doing amazing. She also lives down the road from me. But I want to share something with you all because I touched on this early on with Brian, before Brian got on. And there's a book Brian recommended. It's called Crossing the Chasm. And this is exciting to me. And if you've known me for a while, you've heard me talk about this. I remember, early on in Prove It, we basically invented the ketogenic diet. We brought the keto diet to the world. It was already invented, but we made it famous, right? But I told everybody that it's going to run its course. And then after the ketogenic diet, our product is going to become more important because everybody wants the benefits of ketones, but they just can't do the diet. And our product isn't the diet, it's ketones. It's why it was invented. And so there's a video, and if you don't mind, raise your hands or in the chat, just let me know if you've seen this, but there's a video called It Starts With Why by Simon Sinek. Has anybody ever heard that video? So another video I watch regularly, I send it to Brian once a month. I send Brian Underwood the video once a month. Why do you think I send it to him? Because it applies today as it ever did. Just like Just Do It or Do It from Art Williams applies today as it did in 1987 when he shot it. It's the same information. It's the same circumstances. It's all the same. Just got to get doing it, right? So, but there's something said in that video. So I want everybody, if you don't mind, I'm going to send it out, pulse it out, get it out to the world. I want you to watch that video again. Because when you know why you're doing this, it gets easier. If you're doing it to sell ketones, and maybe you just want to help people, that's okay to want to help people, but you got to it's got to be exciting to you. If it's not exciting to you, you won't keep doing it, right? So knowing why you're doing it is really important because it's what gets you going. Now, some of you may not know why you're doing this, so you're doing it why somebody else. You might be doing it to help me. That's okay. You just got to be excited, right? Like Art Williams says. And so, but I want you to really see something here because for people that have a vision, and everybody, I'm kind of scrolling on here and look at the age group of everybody on here. Y'all notice I don't think, is anybody south of 40 on here? Is anybody in their 30s on this group? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, we're probably pushing more to the mid 40s to 50s and up. Like, Michael, how old are you? You probably like 40, 42. No, you have like 9 kids. You're like 44. Okay. 9 kids, 7 kids. I don't remember anymore. 7 kids, I think. So, and then we have Miguel has 10 kids. Jesus. So Brittany, Brittany's on here. What's up, Brittany? How are you? But I want you to think about this. How many things that you saw in your life that became big later? It just took time. So I'm going to play a video. Just take a few minutes, and I'm going to have Rebecca and Kate speak here in just a second. So give me a second. I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to talk about this video for just a moment because I think it's really important. But I want to share this with you all because I think it's super relevant. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to play a little bit of it. Of course.
Do you know the U.S. solar company's nasty little secret? It turns out if you live in California...
So where do you start?
I had this all set up just so you guys know perfectly, but
will improve upon your technology.
Okay, here we go.
But he didn't. He wasn't first. He didn't get rich. He didn't get famous. So he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to tell you, oh, it's about 10%, proudly. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is, how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it? So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Geoffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, or stood in line for 6 hours, was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation.
All right, let's end that. How do I end this thing? There we go. Stop screen sharing. I'm learning, y'all. Okay, here, I'm back. Okay, so what's up, Jamie? How are you? All right, so I want to take a second and just touch on that. So we're at right now, just so everybody understands the significance of this. So from a ketogenic perspective, we're at the 2.5 going to the 13. We're crossing the chasm from a ketogenic perspective. But from a ketone supplement perspective, we're just tipping into the chasm, into the middle ground. And why this matters is how many of you out there feel like you're talking to everybody, you're always putting the message out, but nobody gets it. You know what I'm saying? Like they just don't get it. They can't get it yet because there's not enough of us that to get it early that are taking advantage of the early opportunity. There's not yet enough of us. So why is this so important? Is that we have more work to do. Like we have the harder job. I want to be so transparent. Like we have the harder job, but think about this. What happens when we hit the 15%? What happens when that scale tips? Do you want to have a team of 1,000 promoters or 30 promoters that are actively working? Do you want a team of, have a few hundred customers or a few thousand customers on your team when we tip the scale? Or do you want to be starting from scratch when the scale tips? So this is all I can see. My brain only sees that tipping point. So I'm like, I just have to wait. I have to be patient, not wait, but be patient with who comes up to for now, because once enough hits, the ketogenic diet has accelerated us into the chasm. Now it's up to us, but then you have prove it side of this, right? So less people know about prove it than they do about the ketones, right? Or ketosis. So we have to take this time and know that we're in the early phases of this. We haven't hit critical mass, but if you really want a large, sustainable financial windfall and change your financial future and have frankly, some of us came in too early. I have people that came in when I came in. They weren't prepared to make this cross. They wanted the iPhone 10, and I was happy that I was starting on the iPhone 1. Does that make sense? They want the 10. They weren't willing to wait it out and take advantage of the opportunity when the timing is going to matter the most, which is in about 2 or 3 years. You guys, it's not this month. We have a few years for this chasm to cross. Our goal as a company is to shorten that time frame. So I wanted to share that with y'all. I don't know if that's helpful for you to see the visual of it all, but I love that video. It starts with why, because I talk about that all the time. But what he shared is so important in the timing of this 9 years. When I started, there was 10 people in the world that tried ketones. I happen to be one of them. And there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's 350 million people in America, right? Think of the percentage of that. 9 years later, we've had to educate so many people. It's a new concept, a new technology. We've had to educate so many people that we're just now getting into the early adopters or the second phase of that 13%. And to me, this is super exciting because now we get to cross that chasm together and we get to make a big shift. Now, to do that, we have to get excited. We have to have a conversation. We have to We have to be able to share that excitement with other people. And when you can really show how and why this is important to you, I promise you, people will get more interested. And it may not be about ketones. It may be about changing their life in some way. So what I'm going to do is I want to bring on somebody that I got to meet really recently. And then I'm going to bring on somebody that you guys all know. But her name is Rebecca, and she is a spitfire. And she's in the educational space. I don't even know, Rebecca. Were you a teacher at one point and then went to the administrative side, or you've been always administrator?
No, I was a teacher. I started as a teacher. I've always done primary grades, and then teacher for 12 years, assistant principal for 2, principal at 3 different sites for about 15 years. And then I was a director at the district. And so I can't tell you how much. So our big thing, I did a lot of training and presenting to principals, and Simon Sinek is one of my favorite. And I have a whole presentation, and it has his why video in it. But, you know, we were always looking for our why. And I mean, everyone that's met me so far, I have a whole presentation for Prove It. I have certain videos in it, and it's kind of crazy. My last job was in planning and budgeting. So all the supplemental funds, state and federal, but we had to have a plan. So we had goals, we had actions under each goals, and then school plans. There were 21 schools, but I have retired, but the next 2 weeks I am back in California, and I'm substituting at a school. I'm substituting for a principal, and her mom is not well. And it was the school I was a principal at. So I'm there to help. She stepped up for me when I needed some help personally. So my first day back was today. I'm a little bit exhausted, but here I am.
Well, thank you for being on. I know she's like, today's crazy. I just got back. I'm in this retirement. I'm transitioning. Yeah. But really quick, you guys see, everybody on here just got a glimpse of meeting Rebecca. And let me ask you a question. Who would like to have Rebecca on their team? Right, she's organized, she's structured, she already puts her plans together. Like Kate and Carrie and Paula are like, dude, like she's got PowerPoint. Like I'm like, good, let her go. Like she loves that stuff. That's great. But here's the thing. I want you to think about this. This is how Rebecca found our team. I'm gonna take this slow. I introduced this product to a lady at a convention that I was at. She was sitting next to me. Her son had seizures. I had a shirt on that says ketones greater than glucose. She goes, what do you know about ketones? He goes, what's that whole ketone thing? I kind of told her about it. She goes, my son has seizures. Can you meet us after? I meet him after. She gets the product. She gets the product. She likes it. She writes a note with some servings in it. She writes a note to her son's roommate in college, brother. She mails a package to him, never talked to him on the phone. And she said, call this guy. And she put my number on it. Everything works. She just did it. Think about that. She mailed product with my phone number on it to basically a stranger, a 3 degrees of separation to her. He calls me and tries to talk me out of Prove It. Well, then he comes back in to Prove It. He invites his best friend. His best friend and him do a booth. They get a lady that's 20 years older than them that runs Ironmans and marathons, who buys the product, whose good friend is a fitness trainer named Julia. Julia buys the product, loves the very business, wants to make a lot of money. Then she refers it to a quiet, sensible, I don't know why I said that. She's a nice lady. Sensible, awesome, quiet Stephanie, who knows this lady that doesn't like to shut up, talks a lot, and she's a badass. To Kate. So Stephanie recruits Kate. The quiet one recruits the beast that owns a business that was failing, that was sick, not doing very well, losing her house. Then Kate refers it to Jennifer, who she met on TikTok, who then kicks up to Tiffany up in wherever, Nevada, who knows this lady that's a badass named Carrie in Virginia City, who has a friend that is a fitness and health professional named Paula that finds Rebecca. And that's how you get somebody like Rebecca on your team. It started with the conversation I had 8.5 years ago in Denver. And so that's how our business works. It's not more complicated than that, but in each situation across the way, oh, I forgot about Ren. Ren's like she's a nurse and she works with like a brain doctors. And Ren, I apologize. I forgot. it gets a little confusing sometimes in all that. But that's pretty cool on how that all comes. But there's one thing in common. They all did it. We all did it. We all started. We all talked to people. We all were excited at some level. And then we invited them into our community, and we find amazing individuals like this. I could do this for Lynn. I could do it for Nick. I could do it for Carol. I could do it for Meredith. I could do it for Gwen. I could do it for Laura. I got to talk to Laura the other day, and it was amazing because here she's finding her real reason why she's doing this. She knows her biggest obstacle is that the debt she's carrying forward that she's already paid off, and she knows why she's doing this. How awesome is that? But Rebecca, you're new.
Yes.
You're excited. And you've hit MVP 2. Can you ask me, before you do that, how did Paula approach you? Do you mind, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, when I moved here, I didn't know anybody, and one of my neighbors had a sip and shop. So I literally didn't want to go. I had been in a huge social rut. I had moved. I didn't know anybody, and I really forced myself to go. And I met Paula, and her sister actually just introduced me to ketones. She was busy, and I'm pretty like, I'll try something. I'm kind of a health nut, but I gained a few pounds, and I needed to lose some weight and just feel better. The mood part has been really big for me. And that's just something that's been good, but I bought some sample packets, and then I think I purchased from Paula like a week later, maybe less than a week. I'm pretty much like that. I just do it in a lot of my life. And then I became a promoter in December, I think. I was trying to think about that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's been a super game changer for me. The community, I got so lucky to meet Kate. It just was by chance that I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I was just headed up to Virginia City and got to meet them. But I think the real big thing is for MVP 1, I was super strategic. I was strategic about who my customers would be. I know you met one of them, Ronick, and I picked people that would support me, that would be honest with me, that would do their research. I also, have some friends.
Can I ask you, how did you chose them, but how did you talk to them? Would you guys all want to know, like, what did Ronick is, he's an awesome dude. Like, he was super cool, but he's pretty forward and blunt, I would say, and very like certain in who he is. But what would you say to him? Why did you choose? Like, did you tell him that's why you chose him?
I knew he was an entrepreneur. He has his own business. I knew he had the money to do it if he wanted to, and I knew there would be a lot of backing. I've known him since high school, and we went our separate ways. He's always supported me personally through the years, and I just knew he would be support. I knew he was a good one, and I knew he'd be honest.
What'd you say to him though?
I messaged him and said, "How you doing? I retired. I'm really trying to find myself." He couldn't believe I retired. He thought I'd work forever. I retired at 55. I'm very fortunate. He also had been reaching out. So I just said, how are you doing? We just opened the conversation. And then I told him, hey, I want to try something new. I want to help people still. I want to serve. And he said, oh, I knew you'd go back to work. And I said, no, it's not like that. And then I kind of explained to him, and I said, will you be someone that would be willing to try it? And he wasn't easy. You talked to him. He had a lot of questions. So he was the first one I connected. The other people, some family weren't really that supportive. They just, and then other friends. But the one thing is, one of the meetings I went to, Dustin was leading it, and Kate's been like incredible, but they each have their different strengths. And so that's really helpful. I think I'm really good at compartmentalizing, but I'm also really good at knowing what Dustin's strength is and then using that to help me. I like that. But anyway, so you had said you should talk to 3 people a day. So attract and talk. So that's what I was doing. So then after I heard the Do It video, and then Brian, the CEO, I'm like, oh my gosh, for me, that a CEO talks to us, and it's just incredible. And so after that, especially after Brian said, some people are still in the COVID rut. And I have to be really honest. Like, I was in a COVID rut. I lost my husband. There's a lot. So I was grieving, and I knew I wasn't getting back out there. And after he said that, I knew it was a rut. I couldn't name it, but I knew it. So then for MVP 2, I said, I'm going to touch 6 people a day. It's going to be 3 like I've been doing, and 3, it's going to be belly to belly, because Carrie's so good at that. And I just listened. and I got out of my comfort zone, and it's been incredible. I've grown so much, and I just feel so lucky. Another thing you asked me about my niche, it's educators and everything, but one thing I've been fortunate to do, and I don't know if other people could do this, but when I have a couple managers that they don't have time, like Ronick works 14 hours a day, he goes home and runs. So some of them I've actually, helped them with their account and asked them if they would donate the rewards and coupons that they get so that I could help other people get started. So I've done that a lot.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's really awesome. Well, you're doing great. And I think,
Thank you.
And everybody give Rebecca some love. I mean, there's so many transferable skills. And one of the things that she's taking her skill set, and it was funny because Carrie and Kate are kind of like, I don't even know what to do. Like, she's doing it all on her own. I'm like, awesome. She's taking her skill set and applying it here. And one of the things that we really strive here is just trying not to, it's like you want to give people a cookie cutter approach, but you don't want to limit what they're good at either. And that's a tough balance, because if we made a system that was so rigid that she wouldn't be able to actually play the role that she can play the best, which is her natural creativity in organizations, she can actually create something that's really remarkable. But guess what? We can all do that in our own ways, right? And so I just got to say thank you so much, and super stoked to work closer together and actually get to meet in person here really, really soon. We'll see you at more, but and you're crushing it. You keep it up. Now we got MVP 3 around the corner, so we're going to do some cool things with that too. So, and a rank 6 coming on the way. But I want to do one more quick, and then we're going to wrap up. Is Kate texted me today? She's like, OMG. She didn't say that. She said something, but she's like, I did a couple posts, and I did a reel and a story, and I have like 350 people interested in the summit, in the Wealth Summit. And I'm like, well, you're going to get on here and we're going to talk about this. But I go, you can't talk about the 350, but I can. And I said that for a reason. What happens sometimes is you never hear the story, somebody signed up 100 customers and you kind of feel defeated. I feel defeated. I don't know if you do, but I feel like, well, shit, I suck. I can't do 100 customers. Like, that's crazy. Like, really? Like, oh, it must be nice. It must be nice to have that, so I didn't want her to come on and say that, but I wanted to say that because it's not that she attracted that. She deserves to attract that. What she's committed to in her social media channel has been remarkable. And first off is, she'll say the riches in your niches, you bitches. Is that what she says? Is that how she says it? Something like that. But she found her niche. She went all in on it. She was devoted to it, even though it's like she's in her own transition phase, because like part of her niche is limiting her ability, but yet it's giving her something else to do, and she's learning a lot, and she has this people. But the thing I want you to know is right now, Kate, if you come on mute, you had you said 350 people interested right now. It's probably up to 450 now. Who knows? But
it's almost 400. So this is
right.
Names, and then like this is all full of names. So it's a
okay.
It's insane.
So this is crazy, right? And now, who wants that? All of us do. Listen, I committed to social media for 5 years, and it still has not panned out that well for me. I'm just being brutally honest with y'all. I'm super awesome in public. I'm so gifted to be out in front of people and talk to people that I use them both, and I use them like I was at the baseball park. I got a guy, he's like, finally goes, dude, what do you do? He's like, you have the weirdest hours in the world. Like, you seem to like, what do you do? I go, well, what do you do? And he tells me, and you can tell like he's looking for something. He needs something, like he's fishing. Right. And so I'm like, well, I help launch this and I do these and I go, but really what I'm doing is I'm actually expanding in Santa Rosa, and I'm looking for some people that want to make some extra money. That's what I said to him. And he goes, really? He goes, I'm looking. I go, I knew that. I can tell. I go, I need you to follow me on social media. I don't care if you're on there or not, but I need you to follow me. So I get him connected so he can stay connected to me, because I know that when he gets home, he's going to have shit life happening. He's going to forget things, and he's going to forget to talk to me in a while. Right. But so I want him to see me on social media. So the next time in the ballpark, he has a reason to come and talk to me. We feel more close. Right. That's how I do. That wasn't supposed to be part of this talk. But anyway, Kate. What was your last ketone post, and how many people were interested?
Oh gosh, you did not prep me for these questions.
I did not prep you for that.
So my last ketone post I think was I think it was Freebie Friday. Is that considered a post?
Sure. I want to know how many people commented on that and asked for.
So there were a lot.
Was there 400?
No.
Ah, so I want to be clear here. This happened to me too. So I did a post on TikTok about an opportunity, and I put my phone number and then said to text me. I woke up to 2,000 text messages.
Yeah.
2,000, and I was really bad at figuring out how to figure all that out. It was a mess. I worked hard for many days, and it actually didn't really work out that well for me. But my point to that is, Kate put up a story about an opportunity. She has 400 people interested. She put up a story about free ketones, a product that literally changes the life of a person. Unbelievable product. And she had 400 people interested in the opportunity. My reason of saying that, it doesn't mean you have to go out and pitch the opportunity. I'm not telling everybody that that's what your goal is. What I'm trying to tell people is that people are interested in our opportunity. So we have to find a way inside of us to deliver that message to them and be excited at the same time. Go back to Art Williams, you got to be excited, right? Anybody get excited for a day. Some people get excited for a month, but a person that's going to be successful has to stay excited, right? You got to be excited and find a way to deliver that message. And that's the number one reason I wanted Kate to share that story was because of that, is that she's had more people to talk to about the opportunity than she does about the product. And that should be something in all of our minds that go, aha, how do I open up this door to have a bigger conversation? And like I said, you can open the door, you can get your foot in the door with ketones, but then you have the opportunity to open up that door, and that takes practice. You have to figure out how to say it, what to say. So Kate, what did you say on your video? You guys want me to send the video out? I'll send a link to you. Everybody can see it. You can copy it if you'd like. But anyway, what did you say, Kate?
There were 3 things that I did, and none of them were just static posts. I first did a Facebook Live.
So that means she didn't do any pictures. She actually did some type of video source. Okay, go ahead.
Like it was all video. So the first one, I just making chicken salad. Actually, I'd already made the chicken salad. I'd made a low carb chicken salad, and I was telling people what was in it. And then I said, oh, and you guys also, because I always feel like I'm giving value to the people that follow us. We all should feel like that. I said, I'm actually hosting a summit this coming Sunday where I'm going to teach people like how I make money from doing stuff like showing you how to make chicken salad. And I was like, if you want to know, if you want to attend, comment the word summit below.
So I want to take a second. What did she do? She was doing something she normally does. People were paying attention. Does anybody go to the grocery store and run into somebody you know? You're doing something that you normally do, and you ran into somebody you know. She has a Facebook following or an Instagram following. She was doing something she normally does. People that normally watch her, she ran into them, right? And then she said, hey, by the way, so you run into somebody at the grocery store and they go, wait, how you do the small talk? How are your kids? How's the dog? How's your husband? Oh, you still live on 4th Street. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, by the way, I'm actually doing a summit this weekend. Wait for that. We started doing a little side gig to make some extra money. And I don't know if you have anything going on, but if you want to check it out, let me know. Just text me the word summit. No, you wouldn't say that, but you could, it's the same thing. Does that make sense? It's exactly the same thing. You're just doing it in the area that you seem the most suitable and practical to do that in. So Kate, what was your other videos on?
So my other video, I had just got back from the grocery store and all my groceries were on the counter. And I did a short form video. So this was a Instagram and Facebook reel, just talking. And I used a hook. I said the grocery store just murdered my checking account, but it's all good. It's all good because actually one of my side hustles pays for my groceries every month. And I'm going to be teaching people how to do this on a summit on Sunday. Comment the word summit below. But I do want to say, because I can hear you all y'all's thoughts. You're going to say, well, I can't say that because my groceries aren't covered by what I make. Listen, I can hear your thoughts. So what you can say is, I'm actually attending this prosperity summit because I'm starting a side gig to cover all my groceries. Who else wants to do that with me? So you can say I can't all day long, but I'm going to Art Williams you to do it and say, how can I? How can you take my language that I've used and spin it to work for you? Because you can. Okay. So sorry, Dustin. I could just hear
No, that's
I could.
It's great. And remember that it applies at your job. So I'm going to be sending off a video on Friday night. It's How to Build a Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. And he talks about this exact same topic. It's like you can have the money and talk about why it's helped, or you can talk about why you do so that you can have the solution to the problem that you have. Does that make sense? And that's all Kate said. It's like this solved her problem that of the expensive groceries, or you're doing this to solve the problem. It's one of the same. You have to be confident on how to say that. A lot of people don't want to talk about the product until they get the result. Well, that's not the right way to go about it. The right way to go about it is talk about the result you want from the product, because most of the people will join you in the journey, right? Most people want to go to Michael Jackson concert with you. They don't want you to go to tell them how good it was. They want you to invite them with them. Okay. Kate, what was the last thing you said?
So the last thing is I did in my stories, in my Instagram and Facebook stories that are combined, is I did a hands-free option. So it's kind of feels like a live, but it's not. So it's a video. And it was the same thing I had in my short form video about, I just got back from the grocery store. My checking account was fully attacked, but I'm super blessed because I have all these different ways that I earn extra income. And I'm going to be teaching a summit, and then ask them to comment. And then after the summit, I put different graphics about the summit, so people just could keep clicking and clicking through. And so yeah, I have all day in, this was just a little over 24 hours ago. So yesterday, yesterday this happened. And one thing that I just want to add while we've been on this call, I just got my second brand new customer, not because I was talking about ketones.
There you go.
Weird, right? I got 2 new customers because I've been talking about Prove It.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you for sharing that, and I'm super excited to help you and work with you in this journey of all this influx. But I want to remind everybody something. Without using numbers, they can use it work for you or against you, but we have a very large organization. The numbers our team alone have done over the last 8 years are bigger than most of the top 100 companies in network marketing, just our team alone, just to give you its perspective of how much reach. We're in 90 some countries. We're only open in 40, just to give you an idea how big our team is. And that came from 3 people I met. So you don't need to enroll 350 people. You got to find the right 3 or the right 4, but you never know where they come. So my challenge to everybody is right here is this: who's committed to doing what Kate did in their way? And I want show of hands, jazz hands if you're willing to do it. I'm willing to do it. I'm going to do it now, but I want you to commit to something here. I want you to put a number of, if you're a social, like if you have a social reach, a social media reach and an impact, and you have high engagement, and you can still do it. I don't have the best engagement, but I'm still going to do it on my social media. But I'm better in person. That's just who I am. I'm better in person. Whatever reason, maybe I should stop telling myself I'm better on social media. Now I'm better in person. I'm going to give myself 2 goals. One goal is, how many am I going to reach out to every day to invite to the summit? How many am I going to reach out to am I going to do these 3 posts on social media? And so I want you all to make a commitment to it. And this is what I want you to do: is I want you to reach out to your team leaders and say, what, because if you don't know what to say and you're not confident, listen, saying nothing won't work. Saying something might work. Being confident in what you're saying just probably has a higher chance of working. So if you don't feel confident, Michael goes to me, Dustin, man, I don't know how I want to say this thing. Let's get on a quick call and let's come up with a good way, a solution to that. Let's come up with the language that you feel confident to. He's like, I don't do grocery stores. I haven't been to grocery. What do I replace? I don't know. Let's figure it out. But that's what I would have you do. Is like reach out to your team leaders. Let's come up with what that messaging is for you. And then let's get people invited to the summit. And remember, if they're excited, Kate's going to meet some people that are more excited than others. They're hitting her right now. Well, we should get on a call with them tomorrow because they might invite 5 people to our guest call that we do Thursday night. And then they might have 35 people on our guest call on Saturday morning. Right? So we're going to compress those time frames if they're really excited. If not, we'll let them come when they're going to come. Right? So we'll take care of that. But here's the deal. I want you to commit down below. How many people are you willing to reach out to and do this with? Have an open conversation about inviting them to something that we're doing. Right? If you don't know anything about the summit, everybody on here should. I think the last few people that were kind of aware of this should know about it. It's on Sunday. It's going to be super, super awesome. And it's basically a time for people to get to learn more about Prove It and what Prove It has to offer and about how they can participate. Okay. That's all it is. It's a guest event for people to learn about our opportunity, let's say. So Kate, anything you want to wrap up on that? I'm just super stoked that you got to share with that. 35 for Carrie Clark.
I love this. I love these numbers. Yeah. I do have something, just a little pro tip on this is I'm not going online and asking people to join my business. And I'm not going online and talking to people about starting their own business because most people don't believe that they could ever do that. What I'm doing is I'm talking about teaching them a way to earn some extra income. That's what I'm talking to them about because they believe that they might be able to find something to pay for their groceries. I'm not going on there and saying that I've earned $1 million. I could, but that's not, do you guys see what I'm saying? You understand? Like you have to talk to people about not just the big pie in the sky, but also what they believe they could do if they were given a system. So we're teaching them systems. And I want you all to know that with that summit, you can lean in on that summit and know that the people that you're inviting to are going to be well taken care of because our goal is even if they don't join us and Prove It, we're going to provide so much value to them that it's going to benefit them in other areas of their life. Prove It may not be the opportunity for them, but we're going to provide them so much value that they're going to say, you know, those Prove It people, wow, right? And not everyone is going to join us right now, okay? Some of them, like Dustin and I talked, we were on the call with someone the other day, like she watched me for a year. She was a customer for 3 months. Like not everyone joins right now, but if you continue to be that person that provides value, that brings joy, people are going to want to start to align with you and join you, but only if you listen, only if you just do it and you do it and you do it and you do it. That is why I've been able to build on social media, not because I did it here and I did it here and a little bit there. And then I waited some time and then I did it again over here. And then I took a couple months off because it just really wasn't working. No, like you want to know why I'm here and why I have almost 400 people to talk to about earning money is because I've shown up every freaking day for years. So don't compare my chapter 50 to your chapter 3, but know that you will hit chapter 50. You get it? You're on your way to get there, but you have to keep stepping up. You have to keep doing the things and take the coaching that's being offered to you. You're never in a lack of resources here. You're only in a lack of resourcefulness if you're not doing the things. Okay, little fired up, Dustin, but okay.
I love it. Hey, y'all. So this is video or this is session 2. We'll do 3rd session, probably Friday. Stay tuned. I got to work through some logistics, but probably Friday night because I want to do one more warm up to the big summit that's coming on Sunday. And then we'll do something before more because more is right around the corner. So I'm just super excited. And remember, I just want to really, really paint the real picture of this. The goal of this is just for people to be opening up their mind to the whole conversation and feel more confident and comfortable talking about it all. Because if we can get excited and we have the right platform, we have the right company, we have the right product, literally we have it all. but it's us that needs to make these shifts and changes. So stay tuned. I'm going to be pulsing out the full video. It starts with why with Simon Sinek. I'm going to be pulsing out the replay of this probably tomorrow once I get it uploaded. So stay tuned. I'll get this out to everybody else. And then we'll see you guys all Friday, because I have another special video that one of my favorites I've seen 100 times that I think everybody should watch once a month if you want to be successful in this. And it's an unbelievable video. It gives a lot of tips, a lot of the language that you can use and steal for yourself and repurpose it the way you want to. So y'all have an unbelievable night and stay tuned. If you have my phone number, text me. You got calls. You got to get on a Zoom. We got somebody ready to go. I'm going to be there helping you along the way with your team leaders. Let's go change some lives. If you don't have my number, get it from your team leader, because somebody has it. Y'all have an awesome, awesome night. I think we went over, but I think it was good. Cheers, y'all.